Friends, Romans, countrymen, welcome back to Let's Play Out of the Park Baseball 19. I'm going to go episode 17, that feels right. Episode 17. We are in 2021 off-season mode right now, so we'll be rolling over into the calendar year 2022 in this episode, which will end right before spring training. As far as I'm concerned with the ball club and sort of our goals for this offseason right now, this is it's a pretty solid crew that we've assembled over the past few years. I don't see, a spot in the lineup that really needs any help. I suppose one thing I could look into doing is potentially trading away someone like Sonny Gray or Brad Peacock just to acquire a left-handed starting pitcher, because we don't really have one of those. But as far as I'm concerned, the two big holes right now that the team doesn't have are will be pretty easily filled by players that are currently in AAA, but will I feel like could play the majority of the season with us. And so you'll notice we have a empty spot in the rotation where Daniel Norris once stood. But we have Cody Deason. Sam Bagwell's a little bit further back, but Cody Deason, rating is looking really good. Performance in AAA looking not as good, but you'd have to think that he is pretty damn close to the majors. And then as far as our shortstop gap goes, because we did trade away Andrelton Simmons after a failed attempt at trying to acquire a draft pick for him through compensation means. Blaze Alexander with that sweet 380 OBP in AAA. Oh man, this guy's we're gonna we've been hitting Rutherford leadoff for a good portion of this series now, but I'd love to get the opportunity to drop Rutherford down the order because he's a guy who can slug 500, and that's not ideal for a leadoff hitter because this guy can drive in runs of his own. If we could have him batting maybe second in the order, that would be great. We could have someone like Alexander hitting leadoff, so that's what I'm hoping. I don't know if he'll hit leadoff from the very start because there's typically sort of an adjustment process, but those two guys I'm very excited about for sure, and they are quite close, you would have to think, to getting to the majors. So with that in mind, we have looked at some of the top free agents for this year. It is a pretty stacked class, but we don't quite have the money to go after them, at least not in our current situation. I can just show you guys right now, like Lindor, Harper, Conforto. These guys are basically, monetarily off limits. We only have about $20 million to sign free agents with potentially. So when we think about goals for this offseason, it's certainly not one where we're feeling like we have to make a lot of big moves. We already won 108 games, So we're going to definitely try to acquire some solid depth for this team. And, so if one of these players, God forbid, goes down for a significant amount of time, we will have adequate replacements. And so that's definitely a big goal for us. And, we may, try to tackle a left-handed starting pitcher, or we may, try to go after a player with, maybe 1 or 2 years left on the contract on another team. But just kind of make a win now mode trade. But honestly, this team's really good. It's got a good mix of players that have come through our system one way or another, with guys like Langoliers and Jimenez and Rutherford, and even Gavin Sheets, kinda, and then Blaze Alexander, Deason on the way presumably. So that's kind of where the team stands going into this offseason. I think maybe also the bullpen too. We could, even though we had the best bullpen in baseball, or at least in the American League last year, there may be another reliever we could be looking at. But I don't expect a hugely eventful offseason. I may cobble something together. But yes, let us get into the offseason. So we're going to go through all of that, and then we'll get to spring training and sort of review everyone we have on the spring training roster. So I will see you guys with whatever our first move of the offseason is. Okay, it did not take very long for us to get some big news to start the offseason. Not of my doing, but sadly, our owner, Jerry Reinsdorf, has passed away. And with that brings along his son to inherit the team. And this is the kind of thing that makes me very nervous because what I absolutely don't want is a owner who is too controlling of the team's financial matters. Anything else I can handle with. If he's a dick, if he's stingy with the money, I can work with all that stuff. But I don't need him to be controlling with the team's financial matters because that, kind of defeats a lot of the fun of the game, I think. So we're going to definitely check out this Reinsdorf Jr.'s personality, and we can also see that he himself has a new set of goals for us. So let's look at Reinsdorf Jr., and his involvement is just normal. So I'm okay with that. He's a penny pincher, and he is a demanding guy. Yeah, obviously not as agreeable as his father, but you could have a worse situation with the owner. So he wants us to reach the playoffs this year. He wants us to extend Arenado, which I'm not sure I'm going to do, but I may, find myself in a spot where I have to, just to keep him happy. Honestly, appeasing the owner is, a lot of people turn off the owner goals, and I don't, because I feel like it is realistic. And not every team's got an amazing owner. And then for long term, he wants us to win a championship by 2025. Hopefully we can do that. I don't. So, yes, here's our email with his new list of demands. The good news is that I myself was extended by Reinsdorf Senior, so I don't have to worry about getting fired, at least for the next few years. That is sort of the good news from there. So yes, new owner, and let's move on with the offseason. Rule 5 draft is upon us, and one of the reasons why you should always check out the pool is to make sure that you don't accidentally have someone eligible that you wouldn't want to be eligible. So obviously we're going to have to add Cody Deason to the 40-man roster. I'm fine with that. I'm not sure if I'm going to draft anyone. I'm not sure if I'm going to be drafting anyone for the Rule 5 draft. The pool doesn't look as interesting as last year. We have reached January 1st, and Daniel Norris has signed a contract with another team. That team appears to be the Boston Red Sox, and the contract is 5 years, $61 million. Seems like a solid deal all around for everyone. And we have received a supplemental first-round draft pick for 2022. So I'm happy about that. Also, did I get a right fielder? Okay, he's no good. Most of the time they're no good, but I was just interested to see if he wouldn't cover anyone there. Daniel Norris will not be on the White Sox next year. He will be with the Red Sox. The only thing changing is the color of his socks. And yes, but we will have an extra first-round pick, so that's always fun. Okay, we are set with our first trade of the offseason. I guess besides the Simmons trade. And not an exciting one. We'll be sending away Dylan Lifrieri, who is a former 17th round pick of ours. Just not quite exciting enough for me as a player. Jared Jones, who was a 3rd round pick, who looks like he's just not particularly interesting. Porter Brown was our 2nd round pick in 2021, also not particularly interesting. And Jesus Rondon, who is should I say Jesus Rondon, but just a relief pitcher who's been in A-ball. And we're getting in return Casey Golden, who I liked because of his 60 home run power. I thought that was good. Golden can hang around in AAA, and if something were to happen to one of our corner outfielders, he could come in and, still have some pop in the lineup. And Ricardo Sanchez is a left-handed pitcher who is young, cost-controlled, seems like he can come out of the pen or, be in the rotation, either or. just, these aren't going to be star players, but they're just little bits and pieces we can add to the entire team. So that is going to be our trade, and we are going to make it. For those of you maybe wondering about the status of the bigger free agents, Buster Posey signed with Baltimore, Bryce Harper went to San Francisco, so they basically kind of swapped there. Kluber signed a deal with Toronto. Chris Bryant was a free agent, but his ratings are down a lot, but he signed a 4-year deal with Miami. Let's see who else. Rizzo went to the Cardinals. That's ugly. Oh, God, that's a terrible sight. Justin Turner went to the Braves. Who else? And then Lindor is on the Mets. Yikes. Okay. The Mets, kind of scary. Yeah. Also, Daniel Norris with Boston, like we said. So, some interesting signings from around the league. Oh, also Scherzer to the Royals. A 37-year-old Scherzer now, though, mind you. I am going to be submitting a 1-year deal for Jason Castro to come back to Chicago, just because he is fairly popular in Chicago and he has the expectations of a bench player, which is what he would be, and he can be our captain. So, happy to have him back in Chicago, hopefully. I had alluded to trading away either Brad Peacock or Sonny Gray. I think I'm going to make the decision to trade away Brad Peacock, who has just 1 year left on his deal. 60% of which is covered by the Astros. He is fragile now. He pitched well for us last year, 135 innings, 27 starts, went 13-3, ERA plus of 20. But we will part with him for a more long-term pitcher to have on the team. Tristan McShane and Francisco Alberto Hernandez are just kind of throw-ins that the Yankees seem to be fond of. The Yankees, our trade partner, will be sending us Dylan Tate, who is a relief pitcher who we're going to convert back into a starter. He has started 20 games for the Yankees, 11 in 2020 when he pitched extremely well, and 9 in 2021 when he didn't pitch particularly well. But we feel like he can get underway and be a nice cost-controlled pitcher for us, wherever that may be. Then Alec Bohm is a power-hitting right-handed first baseman that would be good to keep around the organization as well. He's an interesting guy for sure. If he's the type of guy, if Gavin Sheets really struggles this year, maybe we would move on from him and, bring Bohm up and see what he can do for the time being. So that's the deal I'm going to make, and let's do it. Well, remember when I said I wasn't going to trade Sonny Gray? That was a funny joke back then. Consider this your blockbuster trade of the off-season / episode. So Gray, with 1 year left on his deal, we're always looking to the future a bit in here. The other sort of big prize I guess we're sending away in this is Angel Bielma, who we have been using as a amazing utility infielder. Look at those fielding ratings at second, third, and shortstop. He's pretty much perfect, but our trade partners are very enamored with them. That would be the Mariners. The Mariners are very enamored with Bielma. I think they want to use him as a starter, and I think it could help his career out. We're also going to send along Grant Gambrell, who is a relief pitcher. It could be, maybe it has potential as a borderline starter, but not a huge prospect for us, not a guy I've been paying too much attention to. Thomas Dillard is a very good catching prospect, but unfortunately our position at catcher seems to be locked up for a solid amount of time with Langoliers up, and we have James Bell as well kicking around the system, so catcher not a huge concern for me. And then Ricardo Sanchez, who we just traded for. So we'll never get to see him pitch as a member of the White Sox. But the reason I'm trading away Sanchez is because I like Nick Wells better. Nick Wells is in a very similar situation, but I just feel like he's a teeny bit better. So just because of his movement and control mostly. So Nick Wells comes in as a lefty, and then of course the big prize of the trade, James Paxton. We get the great James Paxton, who has pitched a no-hitter in real life this year. 2 more years of him in which the Mariners will cover 50%. So yes, let's bang it out. And now we have lefties. Jason Castro has signed with us. Ozzy Albies has also signed with us. His career has kind of been derailed in a way that hopefully won't happen in real life. He's looking like he's going to be a superstar in real life, thankfully. But a bad year with Atlanta last year, and they end up non-tendering him. And, 1.5 stars, but he's going to be used as our utility outfielder, so he essentially replaces Vielma, and he is popular too, so I think that's cool. So he'll go to Chicago. Welcome to Chicago, Ozzy Albies, and welcome back, Jason Castro. Pretty big Hall of Fame class this year. Todd Helton scrapes in as close as you can get. Roy Halladay makes it. Both of those were in their 4th year. And then first year is David Ortiz, and Alex Rodriguez with 99% of the vote makes it. Prince Fielder, A.J. Persinski, Cole Crawford, Torrey Hunter dropped, as was Sammy Sosa. And yes, that's about it. Where is Billy Wagner up to 14%? I'm a big Billy Wagner, guys. I'm big on him. He really think about it. Look at his numbers. Okay, he could be a Hall of Famer. Okay, we have made it to spring training after what was maybe just a little bit more of an active offseason than we initially thought. So I guess that's good. I guess that makes the episode entertaining at least. So just like to do a quick once-over of everyone who is been invited to camp. We have Castro, who looks to serve as our backup catcher / captain for this year. Shea Langoliers, our soon-to-be star catcher, was worth 2.7 wins above replacement in a shortened rookie season for him. So excellent job. Alec Bohm is a right-handed power bat who we've brought into the organization at least to complement the myriad of lefty power bats we have. One thing about Gavin Sheets that I noticed last year, if we come and take a look at his splits, is here's his splits versus righties. Okay, sensational, and versus lefties, terrible. So, maybe with Bohm, we kind of have Bohm face some more of that left-handed pitching, or maybe we start Bohm in AAA. Who knows? Ozzy Albies will probably be our shortstop on opening day, which is kind of weird, but yeah, he will be. And while we're getting Blaze Alexander his first couple weeks, in the minors just for the extra year of team control. So, yep, and then Ozzy will hopefully stick around with us and continue to be sort of this utility type player for us. AJ Lee is just a guy on the 40-man, but he's not bad though. He, we traded for him, and in AA last year was hitting pretty well. So, if in case we ever needed another middle infielder in a pinch, he's the man. Moncada is of course a star. He's been worth 4 to 5 wins every year since 2019. Hits well, plays second base. Awesome stats and ratings. We've of course got him on a nice extension that will start this year, so he'll go 4 years, $52 million with us. So we're excited to keep him around for some time. Arenado we traded for last year. This is a guy that really needs to bounce back. He was bad with us. He wasn't doing well in Colorado, particularly before either. But yeah, he hit terrible. But he still has really solid ratings, and he can still play his elite third base defense. So, we need him to bounce back. He's still got 2 years left on his contract, which is expensive, but 80% of it is covered by the Rockies. So, monetarily, it's not as bad as it looks. Blaze Alexander looks to, hopefully supplant himself, or, make himself the starting shortstop for this year. Very great year in AAA last year. Hopefully, those first 2 weeks in AAA to start the year will just be a formality, and he'll come up here and he won't struggle. Rutherford and Jimenez, if you recall, they struggled a lot in their first years in the majors, and so hopefully he's more like Langoliers. We've given him some time to come along nicely, and he will be our second player after Langoliers that we've drafted to make the majors, which is exciting. Gavin Lux, just another middle infielder. I have a lot of those. Maybe I should cut Lee. I don't know. We'll see, but it's good to have those guys that can, stick around. And then we have Casey Golden, who we traded for just to be sort of a corner outfielder. In a pinch, he'll probably start the year in AAA, but he's been invited to camp. Eloy Jimenez took great strides last year. He hit 39 home runs, 126 OPS plus. Just like to see him, do it again this year. That's really what it's all about with him. Gabriel Maciel is our too good to be a utility outfielder, kind of like Vielma was as our utility infielder, but as long as he still has the expectations of being a bench player, I'm going to let him keep doing it. He's only 23. He can get on base. You can tell from his eye and his contact and his avoid Ks. 387 OBP last year. He's fast. He can play center. He can play all the corner outfield spots. Just an awesome tool to have on your team. It means, if you have an outfielder go down, you can fill in that slot with confidence. Rutherford has probably become the star of this team. It's probably him and Ruiz, honestly. Rutherford's got 5 stars, 7.3 wins above replacement last year, first-time All-Star last year as well, Silver Slugger winner. He's just a complete package. He stole 41 bases too, which is absolutely insane. So he's the man. And we do have him on the extension as well with some team options too, which is nice. 5 years, $58 million for him. That is excellent news. Ian Happ. I don't know what Ian Happ's long-term outlook on this team is. He played well last year. I liked how he hit. I liked, I feel like the defense is solid in right field, but we do have Joe Gray Jr. lurking around, AA, AAA. Joe Gray Jr. has potential to be an amazing defensive right fielder, and he can hit as well. So, Happ's days may be numbered with us, but he'll definitely be our right fielder at least for this year. And then we end things up with Willie Calhoun. Started out as a first baseman with us. Now we've kind of moved him to DH because Sheets can play a solid defensive first base. He just keeps mashing. He hits dingers. He hits 40 dingers a year. He's the man. He makes all-star games. He's just he's an all-around awesome bat to have. So there are your position players. And then as far as pitching goes, take a look at everybody right here. So Spencer Adams, he's an interesting case. He's pitched close to 200 innings for us these past 2 years. WAR doesn't seem to like him just because he doesn't, it's F-WAR and he doesn't really get strikeouts. But you know what, his ERA is always solid, just kind of used as a long reliever / spot starter in cases, and we're happy to have him. Adbear is a legit starter in this rotation. He's locally extremely popular too, which is cool. Had a really solid season for us last year. 14 wins, started 34 games, 4.4 ERA, can't complain. Cody Deason is kind of in the same spot as Alexander, where it's just like, as long as you are doing solid in AAA to start the year, you'll be up, and hopefully in the rotation. He's got really great ratings, so we traded for him I believe that was with the Cubs last year. Yes, that was the big birdie deal, and how that turns out, we'll see, but just checking on Alexo here, and Alexo, looks like he can still be a really good player, and hopefully he gets a chance to really shine in the majors this year for him. Zach Birdie as well was a big piece that we sent away there, but you know what? We got back Steele Walker, Steele Walker still looking like he can really be something too, but we eventually, felt like long-term we wanted Jimenez in left field. And then we got Adbear as well in that trade, and then Deason's the third piece, so that's a really interesting trade. Grant Holmes is just a guy. It's not much to say about him. He got 1 out last year and a 54 ERA in the majors. Split his time mostly between AA and AAA. He's just a warm body of a pitcher. I don't think I have that much of an expectation for him this year as far as making the team. Paxton we just traded for. Yeah, he's a good pitcher. He gets a lot of strikeouts. He's really cool in real life. I think his nickname might be it is the Big Maple, which is cool because he is Canadian. Ruiz is the ace of this rotation, no doubt. Some would say a regression last year with his 4.64 ERA, 96 ERA plus that was high, but when you look at it, it's just like, well, his walks were down and his strikeouts were up, so how bad could he really be? Obviously, he allowed more home runs, but his whip was down too. He had a league low whip, so he's still definitely the ace of this staff, and he's got an 80 changeup. What a champion. Okay, Dylan Tate. who we just traded for this offseason. He looks to be sort of a floater between the rotation and the bullpen. Probably start in the rotation this year, and then Deason might come and take that from him. Yeah, but he's definitely an interesting pitcher for sure, and one we're happy to have. And then Nick Wells, who we just traded for. I'm hoping he can be very similar to what Adbear was for us, just a sort of this underappreciated pitcher with really solid pitching ratings that can start to put it together for us in Chicago. So yeah, Alcantara is one of the studs of the bullpen. He has been very good for us. He made 86 appearances last year, 96 innings pitched, ERA under 3. I mean, he has expectations to be in the rotation, and honestly, with the way he's been pitching, I don't blame him. But I hope he's not too upset when it doesn't turn out that way. Or maybe, you know what, maybe he will sneak his way in there. Who knows? Matt Barnes, I've signed on one of those wonky deals with the major league option, minor league with the major league option. So if he has a good spring training, he can make this roster, and if not, he'll be sent down to AAA, and that'll probably be the end of him. So pay attention to him. Brian Clark, he of the unimpressive basic pitching ratings and repertoire. Nothing about him says he should be a successful relief pitcher, but man, he was last year, and he was used as a setup guy too. So, a guy I trust a lot, honestly. That BABIP obviously has been very lucky. So we'll see. But, he's been a good pitcher, and he's lefty too, which is nice. Jace Fry, also the man. Jace Fry just continues to pitch very well. That's 2 straight years with us where he's been exceptionally good in relief, and we trust him a lot. He's all about the home run suppression. As you can see, he's only allowed 6 home runs the past 2 years in 167 innings. That's crazy town. Funkhauser, it was there to say he pitches, he gets stuff done, and he's not a star by any means, but not everybody has to be. Good one. Interesting year last year, had a rough start, and then came back and was just absolutely lights out for us. So excited about him for sure. Hopefully, he can stick around for this team for some time, and the fact that he's lefty is good. And Peralta was extremely good for us last year too. He's been very good for us these past couple of years, in my opinion. Glad we made that trade with the Boston Red Sox. We sent away, Brock Holt and Miguel Soto, so definitely we won out on that one. Peralta's a strikeout machine, and in real life he is too. So this is sort of going to reveal a bit too much about how I go through the recording process, but he last week my time just threw he just struck out 13 people at Coors Field in his debut in the majors, so that's awesome. So we have him in case you guys didn't know that. And then Garrison Moreno, I don't know what this guy's deal is. I didn't even know he was still on the 40 band, but we'll see. He walks everybody. So that's everybody we have sticking around on our spring training roster. That will end the episode. Thank you for your continued support of this series. The viewership numbers, seem to be going up, if anything, which is terrific. So I'm glad there's still a lot of interest in the series. And I will see you guys in the next episode for the 2022 opening day. All right, peace.